All right. Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. It's Monday night, and it's such a pleasure to see so many of you this evening. I love that we get together once a week and get to talk about health and wellness. And tonight is a very, very important topic. The topic this evening is about sleep. And let me tell you why this topic of sleep really resonates very deeply with me. Because there was a season in my life, if you went back 30 years ago, where I was an autoimmune nightmare. And I think I went about 20 years without a really deep, sound sleep. I was aging very, very quickly. The inflammation from the autoimmune conditions were just at epic proportions. My immune system was shattered. That my hair had stopped growing, the color of my skin was gray, and if you looked me in the face, all you got was a blank stare. And when I improved my nutrition, yes, with Juice Plus, amazing things start to happen. And when I went back and started to look at the story that I have told now for 27 years, what I said was the first thing that I noticed when I improved my nutrition with Juice Plus was that I started to sleep. So I know what it feels like not to be able to fall asleep at night. I used to call it pillow warfare, where you toss and turn all night long. So I understand how important this is. So tonight, to have Dr. Joan Hunter with us talking about this subject, because she too is passionate about it. I can't wait to hear what she has to say, but let me read a very short bio about Dr. Hunter, because not only is she a friend, but she is a brilliant physician. So Dr. Hunter is a board certified internal medicine physician practicing in the Portland, Oregon area. She has a passion for wellness and nutrition, and in 2020 became a lifestyle medicine. She became lifestyle medicine board certified. She loves sharing evidence-based lifestyle practices with patients to promote lifelong health and wellness. Helping people sleep better is her self-proclaimed superpower. Don't you love that? And it's her mission to impact as many lives as possible through lifestyle medicine in 2021 and beyond. So I love that here is a doctor that has identified her superpower. So Joan, welcome to the call tonight. It's a pleasure to have you. I love that you come to us with an open mind and an open heart. So let me start this tonight by asking you, what is lifestyle medicine, and why did you choose to move in that direction?
Great. Thank you, Terry, and appreciate the warm welcome. So glad to see so many familiar and smiling faces here tonight, and hope that some of the information I'm bringing speaks to all of you. So I've been part of the Juice Plus community for almost 8 years now, and I've been eating Juice Plus for over 15. So my Juice Plus history goes pretty far back, and it really is just a part of my lifestyle now, a very important part of it. And it was actually through another physician in the Juice Plus community that I learned about lifestyle medicine. And, through everything that I've learned through this community and our Shred 10, I've had such a growing passion for health and nutrition that I've tried to share with my patients. And when I heard about a lifestyle medicine physician, I said, I don't know what that is, but I want to be that. So Judy Strickler connected me and with Dr. Lisa Foster. And so she told me her story and how she became a lifestyle medicine certified physician. And that started my journey in 2019. So pretty quickly after that, I started my board review class and sat for my boards in October of 2020. And then I've really been trying to work lifestyle medicine into all my interactions with patients and also friends and family to help everyone really live a life of vibrant health. So lifestyle medicine is really getting back to basics. It's very simple things. We have 6 evidence-based pillars of health that we call them in lifestyle medicine. They include nutrition, following a plant-focused whole food diet, which we have all heard about if you've heard anything about our Shred 10. increasing your physical activity for 150 minutes of moderate physical activity a week, improving your sleep. So 7 to 9 hours of healthy sleep is the lifestyle medicine recommendation for every night. Building strong social connections, reducing stress, and also reducing toxin consumption. So alcohol, tobacco, and drugs are the three that we focus on. So really what I learned so much in my training was about sleep and how much lifestyle impacts sleep. And, I had a really good basis in the nutrition, and I knew how important physical activity in all of its different forms were. But I was really shocked by the things that I learned and the simple lifestyle changes that you can make to improve sleep. So this has been a place where I've seen vast improvements for my patients when we talk about their sleep. And so I really am on a mission to bring better sleep to as many people as I can.
So, all right. So this is fascinating, and you're just starting to dip into why this is such an important topic. So how does sleep connect with overall health?
Yeah, so I think of sleep along with food, water, and shelter as a biologic necessity.
Wow.
So we really are diurnal creatures. We're supposed to be up and awake during the day, and we are supposed to sleep at night. That's how we evolved. And you can see that in societies that still follow a very hunter-gatherer type way of life, that they are very active during the day, getting all their work done, and then nighttime is rest time. And we know that over 60 million Americans have problems sleeping. Only about 10% of them talk to their doctor about it, because we kind of have a culture in this country that sleep is not a biologic necessity. It's kind of something you can do later, like when you're dead, if you've heard that phrase before. And really, you might end up dead a lot sooner than you would if you were focusing on getting 7 to 9 hours of healthy sleep every night. So the impact to our economy is thought to be over $60 billion a year related to lack of sleep, from not just people who miss work, but also who show up to work and aren't really doing anything because they're so tired they can't be productive. So, and sleep, really, lack of sleep and interrupted sleep affects almost every organ system in your body. It's linked to dementia, it's linked to metabolic disorders, rise in diabetes and the obesity syndrome in this country. So it is really impactful if you're not sleeping well. And so I'm just, trying to raise awareness for people that this is something we really need to focus on.
Joan, you mentioned, the SHRED program early on. And even though the SHRED program is not a diet program, okay, it's a lifestyle detox cleanse, but I don't think a lot of people realize the connection between sleep and getting trim and physically fit. Could you just speak to that for a second?
Yeah, so I think there's two different things there, Terry, because one, what happens when we're in sleep and when we're in deep sleep is that's when our DNA repairs. That's when hormones are secreted. That's when your metabolism is really resetting. And the other piece is that our microbiome, which is all those trillions of critters that live in our gut, they like to sleep at night too. So if you're feeding your critters late or not in bed when you should be in resting, the microbiome doesn't get to do the work that it's so good at doing, which is detoxifying, which is creating new healthful substances from what we've fed our gut. And so there's two different pieces to that. One is just the work of healing and regeneration that goes in our body. And the other is the microbiome, which really controls a lot of the biologic factors that happen on a day-to-day basis.
It's just so fascinating. And I know that today, I know so many women, and, the bulk of the Juice Plus community is women, is that, you hear about hormone imbalances, younger and younger and younger. And just real quick, would you speak to how sleep impacts hormones?
Yeah, I mean, it impacts everything, really. It impacts the health of all your different organ systems. And, one of our basic hormones is cortisol, and that's the hormone that helps you wake up in the morning and do what you need to do. And there's part of our circadian rhythm. I think people really think sleep is those 7 to 9 hours at night that you're trying to to get rest, it's really a 24-hour cycle. And it has to do with when your cortisol spikes in the morning and when your melatonin starts to rise. So, if any of that is off kilter, you get downstream impacts. So, we know a lot about adrenal fatigue and cortisol burnout and how that relates to a healthy metabolism, weight gain. So it really is connected.
All right, so you hit on something. It's here in the United States, maybe it's the Western world, it's just this badge of honor. I got 4.5 hours last night and I'm rock and rolling and ready to go. It's like this badge of honor that we wear in this culture because we're almost proud of the fact that we get so little sleep. And so now we know that it's just absolutely devastating to our health. How do we get in our own way? What is it that we're doing? How is it that we get in our own way?
Yeah. So there are some pretty simple things. And again, the thing I love about lifestyle medicine is it's not a bunch of fancy algorithms. It doesn't matter what your state of health is. It's the same 6 tenets that we teach everybody. And so when it comes to sleep, it's getting, prioritizing those 7 to 9 hours. And for a lot of us, it's about focusing on ourselves and our self-care and making sure that we can carve out the time to really get those 7 to 9 hours. So if you don't go to bed till midnight and you got to be up at 6 a.m., you're not going to fall into that realm. So part of it is this whole framework of what we call sleep hygiene in the medical world. So just like brushing your teeth and flossing every day, there are things you have to keep healthy and on a routine to make your sleep better. So setting a bedtime is one of those things, and honoring that bedtime. Probably the top 3 things that I always start with for people is light exposure. So natural daylight is great for us and helps us keep on our circadian rhythm. But just as we are all on a screen talking to each other right now, the blue light that comes from these screens, whether it's your cell phone, your iPad, your TV, or a computer, talks directly to your brain. So the back of our eye, our retina, is brain tissue, goes directly into the brain through the optic nerve. And blue light, when it gets transmitted through the retina, actually tells your brain, stop making melatonin, it's daytime. So melatonin is that sleep hormone that our bodies make on a cycle to help us wind down, calm down, go to sleep, and get deep, restful sleep. So if you're sitting with a screen open in front of you until you go to bed, your body's already off that circadian rhythm. So the blue light is a huge thing, and I counsel people till I'm blue in the face about this. So the recommendation from lifestyle medicine is really no screens for 2 hours before bed. A lot of people have a hard time with that. So I say a minimum of 30 minutes. And when you've set your 30-minute timer, you can actually on your phone set a bedtime alarm, and it will tell you, hey, it's bedtime. You're not supposed to be on here. It'll make it really hard to get logged into your phone and things like that. But in those 30 minutes that you've now reclaimed to yourself before bedtime, it's also really important to have a calming bedtime routine so that your brain, who loves to have a story, loves to have a routine, knows exactly what to expect next. And so often, what do people do right before bed? Watch the 10 o'clock news. Like, that's the least restful thing you could possibly do for your body. Or, get on the phone with mom and have the same argument you've had about Uncle Al for the last 6 months. So, you got to cut out all of those stressful, energizing, activating situations and start programming in some self-care. So whether that's taking a hot Epsom salt soak, whether that's doing some foam rolling, bedtime yoga, doing your gratitude journal, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's, really pampering yourself with doing a mask or something, just taking it down a notch, giving your brain a little bit of a reset and a de-stress, and then you get to go to bed. So that's definitely number one, is that we're feeding our brain bright light that says don't make melatonin, and then we don't do enough to kind of decompress before bed.
Can I throw something in here real quick before you go on to the next one?
Yeah.
Does that apply to a Kindle?
So the Kindles are a little different. They are more like a paper book, but
Okay.
there is still light coming out. So if you have like the Kindle Fire, I would say that's pretty similar to an iPad as far as the blue light. If you have one of the paper whites or the older Kindles, it's probably more similar to a book. But I've really encouraged people to switch back to paper, pick up your college alumni association magazine, or go to a paperback book and really consciously make the effort not to be on a screen for 30 minutes before bed.
Okay, yeah, I had to know because you know now what I'm doing at night. Okay. Okay. If you want to just give us one or two more things of how we sabotage our own sleep, that would be lovely.
Absolutely. So the other big one I see is alcohol consumption. So, and that's something that we focus on in the Shred 10 too, trying to avoid alcohol for 10 days. Is actually my Shred story is that after I did the Shred 10 for 6 months, 9 months, I completely lost my craving for alcohol. And I realized how much of a habit it was to come home and have that glass of wine, not really something that I needed. And guess what? My sleep got a lot better. So alcohol, even 2 to 3 hours before bed, while you may feel a little sleepy and maybe it helps you fall asleep, or at least that's your perception, alcohol interrupts our REM sleep, which is our deep sleep. So if you're one of those people who wakes up at 3 a.m., you might want to think about the glass of wine you have with dinner. I have so many patients who, when I convince them to give this a try, can just automatically tell how much better their sleep is when they get rid of that evening cocktail. And the last place I'll go to is laying awake in bed. So for a lot of people, either they spend a lot of time in their bed already, or I have some patients who live with other folks and their bedroom is their only private space, so they're in their bedroom a lot. That makes it really hard for your brain to know, when am I supposed to be in my bedroom to go to sleep, and when am I in here to work and play and do other things. So we say really limiting the bedroom to sleep and intimacy. And if you are one of those people who wakes up in the middle of the night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and you're laying awake having a hard time going back to sleep, don't stay in bed. So 20 or 30 minutes max. And if you're staying in bed, what you're doing is training your brain. What I do between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. is lay here for 2 hours awake. So you want to break that cycle, keep it dim. This is not the excuse to check your email or fold laundry or whatever. Go to a couch, go to a guest bed, you can put on a guided meditation, do some breathing exercises. And if you get sleepy, you can fall asleep there, or you can get up and go back to bed. But you want to break that cycle of what I do in my bed is lay here awake. So those are my top 3 tips, Terry.
Wow, and those are all really powerful. And I know that you have more in your ditty bag, but I'm looking at the clock and we've only got like 10 more minutes. So talk to us about, we know that for the most part, everyone on the call is either, doing Juice Plus or doing the Shred, or at least interested in Juice Plus. Talk about nutritional support, to enhance sleep. What have you seen? What have you learned when it comes to nutrition?
Yeah, I mean, your nutrition is hugely important. And again, a whole food, plant-focused diet is where I'm always going to go, less refined sugar, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of plant protein. There's actually some really interesting stuff I learned, Terry, about the timing of your carbohydrates. So for certain people who have a hard time falling asleep, or that person who's waking up really early, actually shifting your carbohydrates around during the day can impact that for you based on what type of person you are. So there's some really interesting stuff about that, but really high quality whole food carbohydrates are very important for sleep. Again, it goes to the microbiome, makes our microbiome happy, it can improve sleep. Other natural sleep support and sleep supplements, melatonin is probably the biggest one on the market. I use that personally, can be pretty helpful for helping you fall asleep. It's kind of a mild sleep effect. Something else that I've used, especially since I was pregnant and breastfeeding for many years of my life recently, is a magnesium supplementation. This can be really helpful for sleep induction. So magnesium naturally kind of relaxes muscles, relaxes the nervous system. You can get magnesium powder, you can get gummies, you can get a tablet. When you intake magnesium, it can affect your bowels, so it can make your bowels a little loose. Another great way to get magnesium in, which kind of goes into that calming bedtime routine, is if you use Epsom salts, either for a foot soak or for a bath. Epsom salts is a magnesium salt, and it's very well absorbed through the skin. You also completely bypass the GI tract when you use it that way. So it's a really nice way to work that in. The other thing that I learned actually is about omega supplementation is incredibly important for sleep. The DHA omega, which we have some really wonderful plant-based versions of that in the Juice Plus Omega, directly tells the brain to make melatonin. So
Wow.
it can be really helpful. I know that's something that many of us have noticed when using those omegas, that our sleep is improved. So, there are natural type things you can do to help with that.
I have a quick question. Judy asked about carbs. Going back to your statement about healthy carbs, could you just expand on that just a second about healthy carbs enhancing sleep?
Yeah, so it really has to do, A, with the quality of the carbs, and B, about the timing. So, it's a little easier to do that on an individual level to kind of say what the right question is for you, because I do find that people kind of fall into three different areas. We have our folks who have a hard time falling asleep, and there's one recommendation about the carbohydrate timing for that. There's people up in the middle of the night, and then there's people who wake up too early before they want to get up, and the recommendations change a little bit for all of that. But again, if you're doing a plant-focused, high fiber diet with, low sugar, all of that is just great, again, for the microbiome and for healthy sleep. It really has to do with how our blood sugar gets processed. And so, you have kind of an even keel with your metabolism with that.
So it really is based on an individual's response and sleeping pattern already, that you get to determine when the carbs and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. There's different things called sleep inputs. And so carbohydrate input is one of those. Light exposure is very specific for natural light exposure, for those different categories of when you should get your natural light exposure to aid you in your area of sleep issue, and also physical activity, when to do your physical activity to help with that particular issue. So it really does come down to a one-on-one basis.
Okay. All right. I would love to know your thoughts on daylight savings time. Everybody else ready to go to bed. I'm like, is this day ever going to end? Like, I can't believe it. 3 o'clock. It was only 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, mercy. All right. So
life savings time actually has a huge negative impact on our health, and it's been linked to, so many millions of heart attacks and lost dollars and things like that. So it's not a good thing.
So archaic. It's so archaic. All right. One more question, and then I'm going to just wrap it up with a little bit more conversation about you personally. I had a question about magnesium. Do you have any kind, and then like magnesium for pregnant women, kind of like how much magnesium do you recommend?
So, the magnesium product that I have used for a long time is called Natural Calm. It's a powder. And it's what I started using when I was pregnant and working night shifts, which is maybe why I have a personal interest in sleep, because I think I was totally sleep deprived for 10 years between residency, working nights, and then having 2 kids back to back. So, but the Natural Calm magnesium powder really helped me. And, the dosing on that package says start with a 1/4 teaspoon and adjust until bowels are comfortably loose. So there's not a real science there, but you can definitely overdo it. They have several different formulations, some of which include melatonin. So they actually have a sleep specific formulation that has some melatonin, some GABA, and some L-threonine, which are some other natural supplements that have been linked to be positive supports for sleep. That is not recommended for pregnant or lactating women or children, because the melatonin can impact kind of the developing brain. But the Natural Calm does have some gummy supplements as well, which are good for kids of all ages who enjoy gummies. A normal magnesium tablet, if you're going to get it over the counter, is about 400 milligrams. That's kind of a starting dose.
Okay, 400 milligrams. Good to know. All right. So, Dr. Hunter, I know a lot of people have questions, and it's such an important topic. How can people work with you, to learn more about sleep, healthy sleep habits? Because at the end of the day, a lot of us need a little extra support in this. So talk to us about what you have made available to us.
Yeah, thank you, Terry. So I really am on a kind of a drive to help as many people with their sleep as I can. So I have created on my website kind of a go at your own pace sleep class. And this is all based out of evidence-based lifestyle medicine training. So that is an option. And I'm making a special price available for the members of this call and through the Juice Plus community. So there'll be information in the Facebook page about that, how to access that. And then if you want to work with me one-on-one, again, I do a very detailed sleep assessment, and then we go through what your particular issue is, kind of those sleep hygiene targets that you should work on, and all of those inputs that are going to be specific for you. So that's also available, is to do a one-on-one consult with me. So I would love to work with any of you in that manner.
That's great. And, don't you love our community? Our Juice Plus community is a life-giving community. So Dr. Hunter, my friend Joan, thank you for offering your time, your talents, and your treasures to everyone on this call. It's streaming on Facebook, and to make yourself available to this community. You are a blessing. So we appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming on tonight. Everybody, thanks for being a part of this program. It will be recorded, and we will have access to this recording so that you can share it with friends and family, because this is an important topic. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you want to unmute yourselves and say thank you to Joan, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, Dr. Hunter.
Great information.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Joan.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody. See you